Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything Purity Life. I'm Erin Macklin.
And I'm Julie Drapeau.
Today we're going to go through our regular weekly check-ins. We're going to have an interview with Phil Lebeau from LeanFit Sciences.
Yes.
And then we'll do our regular new to Purity Life.
Where are you going this week, or any plans?
Because I feel like you're asking because you've heard little hints of what's going on.
I know.
So this is the Civic Long Weekend, obviously, and this is the weekend where every year my mom's very large family gets together in camps for the weekend.
How many people when we say large family?
Okay, so my mom comes from a family of 11 children, all of whom married and had between 3 and 6 or 7 kids piece. So that's from my mom's age. So you have to consider that all of these ones then now have also had children. So we've got a bunch of generations at this point.
Wow.
So we all, and honestly, it's not even the whole family that comes camping. It's a select group. But out of that massive amount, we end up with usually between 80 and 100 people in this kind of group.
A wedding?
Yeah, basically. But serve yourself. But there's like a group camping area. So it's basically a giant field. And everybody comes in with their tent trailers, and some of them have larger trailers, and kind of park around the outside. And then we put up our volleyball nets and our horseshoes in the middle.
Very cool.
What have you. Yeah.
That's for a couple of days?
So it's for it depends. Some of the families kind of take advantage and come already earlier in this week and spend the whole week there on the weekend. But minimum usually you'd come Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And you do that in Ontario area?
Yeah, it's not far from here.
No?
It's not far from here, yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, you must find this with family too. I think the difference that you can get in terms of relationship and bonding when you're spending multiple days together versus, an hour visit or a meal or whatever.
Yes.
It's just completely different.
Yeah.
And when you have so many generations involved and you're seeing, kids come from like little kids and they're growing up and experiencing that, they're just the bonding that happens between even cousins and getting to know people that they wouldn't have that opportunity with but are still family. So you have that kind of built-in connection that you get to build off of. It's really, really neat. And it's one of those things that I think you get to and it's like, are we going? Yeah, well, we could. But it feels, right? Like it feels such a shame to miss an opportunity like that.
Yeah.
It's incredible how even as people have kind of aged out, how the younger generation have kind of picked it back up or continued to pick it up.
Tradition.
Yeah.
What do you like the most in camping? Like aside of
camping in general?
Yeah. What's the...
I do like the forced idea of just being outside all the time, to be honest. Like it's so refreshing to be outside and just breathing that air for the whole day.
Yeah. I feel that when we travel and we get to countries or places that you just walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And every time I come back home and I'm like, why don't we do that more often?
Yeah.
Like at night, you look at streets, there's nobody outside.
Yeah.
It's nuts. And then when you start, talking to people outside, and it just creates that connection, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, everybody finished the work where you're going back home, or you go to the gym and you come back. And I find that that's a piece that is fun to be outside. So that's your favorite thing. Any favorite food that you like to
for camping?
Yes.
No.
I'm always seeing these. I'm thinking about all the movies of camping with the marshmallows.
There's nothing gourmet about camping. Well, depends, I suppose. My sister-in-law is really good at coming up with new and interesting things. But for me, it's the basics. It's kind of whatever you can plan out. Because you're packing everything ahead of time, so it's whatever's easy and you can do on a camp stove, and you have minimum amount of burners and whatnot. So
you make good coffee though. I'm seeing you with a cup of coffee before everybody comes up, and then get up in the morning. Do you have that moment, or the kids are already up and
we're getting there. Getting there. Yeah. So that's the problem. You kind of lose that moment when the kids are young because they're always up earlier before you, but they're starting to. If you can get up early enough, yes, you can get a few minutes with a coffee while the sun's coming up.
That's pretty much, I would say, the only thing that in camping, I'm sorry to say that I've enjoyed is getting up in the morning, the first one, because I like to wake up very early, and just like the silence part of it.
Yeah.
And then you just have that coffee. But
and then the birds wake up. There's a very I
love that.
Hearing the quiet and it being a
birds.
damp morning, and then blue jays.
Natures.
Even when I'm at my house, if I hear like the blue jays and it's kind of that wet early morning, always brings me right back to camping. Like
Yeah.
that's just.
Yeah.
But you're not a camper, eh?
No. No,
Really?
I love outdoors, but I just don't like the sleeping in the tent and it's humid when you get up in the morning.
Yeah.
I just don't like that. But I have a funny story that I should share here. And I went to years ago, I think maybe 10 years or more. We had a trip to Germany to Walida.
Right.
But I was invited on my own, and so I went there. And Matthew took the girls for camping.
Matthew
And-
took the girls camping.
Yes, because
This is surprising to me already. I'm ready.
Yeah, but as kids, and you want to do
Of
something
course.
fun, so I
Yeah.
said okay. And then I was landing on the Saturday morning, and I said, okay, great, we're gonna all meet at that breakfast place, and you sleep one night, Friday night, and it's all good. So I come back from my trip, right, and I'm like, oh, this was so great. I'm all fresh and rested, and I'm in front of 3 people that didn't sleep at all of the night.
Oh, no.
That looked totally, I would say, almost depressed. And I said, oh my God, what happened to you guys? I thought that you would have a great time camping. And all of them are just like not speaking. And I'm like, okay, what happened? So what happened is first they put the tent on, but then a storm, like a big bad weather
Yep.
came. So the tent, almost like fell off, and then they had to get up again. But then when it calmed down, our dog that we had slept in the tent, but then I think there's a skunk that came from outside sniffing the tent.
Oh.
So the dog was barking at that thing. And then, it's not a lot in between to protect when there's that animal like that
Yep.
around. And so they just decided, and it started to rain again. So they decided to just pack everything and leave.
Oh,
So
that's the worst.
so I couldn't stop laughing. But at the same time, I was looking at them. I was like,
I'm
"Stop
sure they
laughing,
weren't
Julie.
appreciating
This is
it
not
in
the
the
time now." I just got these eyes looking at me like, okay, enough of this. And I said, well, is that your last experience of camping? That was like
We've
top of it.
certainly had experience like that. We've had experience where the tent was just flooded. Like there was so much rain, the tent was flooded and stuff was floating around. We had an experience where we got hit with a windstorm, and you can imagine tent pegs, right? So the tent basically collapsed. I mean, we're still sleeping. Well, sleeping.
Yeah.
And the tent peg with the wind was going up and down and hitting my car. So it was going smack, 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 which we didn't realize. And we got up in the morning and the paint was all like
Chipped.
dinged up. Yeah.
And you still
Yeah.
continue to camp.
We still continue
I'm
to
impressed.
camp.
I'm very impressed.
And then even with the dog, our dog, we would have to twist tie the zippers shut, because otherwise the dog would get out in the middle of the night, and we were afraid she would take off and get lost. So just little stuff like that. It's funny now that I'm recanting it, but we did actually have a lot of good times camping.
That's what I'm realizing now. Like while I'm digging right now, there's some of the more stories to that.
I have a lot of camping stories. Most of them are a little bit crazy like that.
I'm thinking even when I was younger, my dad hated camping. My
Yeah.
dad was not a camper. My mom had a huge family, like real big
Yeah.
family. And so they liked doing things like that. And no, my dad was always, okay, yeah, people are camping. We're going to have like that little house there that we're renting.
We'll go visit them during the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were coming with our little canoe because we were across the river. Say, this is us. So I blame my dad for that I don't like camping. He gave me that habit.
I can just visualize your little family coming in the canoe, visiting all the people that were in their tents. We're coming. Here we come.
And no
life jackets.
No,
Yeah.
my dad didn't think that was necessary. You know how to swim. We're good.
You'll be fine.
Security was very different back in time, but yeah, lots of fun, lots of souvenir. That's for sure. Oh, well, let's get into talking with Phil.
Phil
That would
Lebeau,
be-
yes.
That'll be very interesting. I know you'll have different stories to share with
Yeah.
us. So
Maybe he's got some camping stories.
yes. Maybe.
Thanks so much, Phil, for joining us. We're so happy to have you here.
Of course. I'm very glad to be here.
I know you've got quite the history in this industry, within the natural health industry. Can you tell us a little bit about what that looked like for you?
Sure. I started my career at a distributor, Pure Source,
Yep.
way back in early 2000s. And at some point became a really big user of a product that we were distributing called Vega.
Right.
And then made a leap over to the branded side back in 2006, about 2008. And was there for 10 years, built a really big business, big brand, big company, a lot of great people worked with. And then we sold that business and then started thinking about what to do next. Started a brand, Based Body Care. And through that, starting Based, realizing I had probably a little bit of capacity, we started doing some consulting and work with some other brands, which led me to what we're doing now with LeanFit through Clean Life Sciences, where we have Based, LeanFit, and a couple other house of brands that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right out the gate with, Pure Source as a distribution and then falling in love. I mean, Vega is a big name everybody knows in the industry and really, I think, changed a lot of the sports nutrition because when we think about the health industry, we think about, the homeopathics and the herbs at the beginning. Yeah. And definitely, I think that Vega was one of the big lifter of changing a little bit of that vision. Yeah. Your group was, very strong out there. And I think that definitely gave you a lot of knowledge to bring a new brand like LeanFit, which we see on the market, we distribute, and has really filled an amazing gap. So
of course,
so you've created some formulation. Like, what were you part of developing? What is at LeanFit?
So when we started at LeanFit, myself and my partner Ashley, we were a 3-product company, right? And sold only at Costco at the time. And through that came into the opportunity when we looked at it and we said it's a really 20-year brand that had been there. And when you get into the roots of what the business is, it was started by an individual, and it has a lot of the same kind of historic story that a lot of brands have. Right. Someone who loved the products, worked out at the gym, started his own gym, Richard Pierce, back in the East Coast, and didn't like what was produced from whey protein. Right. Okay. And started making it and blending it in his kitchen and putting it into jars, pickle jars, literally, and selling it at the gym to people. Yeah. And that kind of translated itself into a long-term obsession of his, really is like quality, taste. And he, started a manufacturing company called GFR, and that's how it kind of got into, making this whey protein. An opportunity came up with Costco at some point, and he was like, "Yeah, we can do that," and they started the brand at that point. But really, the heritage is in a lot of the same reasons why people start brands, like that traditional kind of health food type brand that's
wanting
built
something
on
better,
efficacy and a storied beginning. It has that as well. Yeah. The difference was it started at Costco versus starting in the natural food channel, where typically how things have happened. But there's brands like Orgain kind of really started in Costco in the U.S. So it's kind of just on a different path. So when we got there, though, was those 3 SKUs, plant protein and 2 whey protein SKUs, sold at Costco, good volume, but it had a really strong opportunity because we're a manufacturer. We've got capacity and capabilities and everything that we can do, and a really strong, robust quality and procurement team. Right. So we started looking at it and saying, what gaps are there in the market? Because protein had slightly become a little bit more commoditized over the course of time, from my Vega days to today. Yeah. Premium wasn't just it. You're running into economic considerations. A lot of consolidation in the health food industry in Canada. Yes. A lot of consolidation in the grocery industry in Canada. So it lent itself to be to step into a place where you could develop products. Yeah. And we did the formulations and work on the collagen and stuff. Yeah. Getting the isolate right. The hydration products we have. Yeah. So there's not a product that we make that either myself or our team hasn't touched. And thinking about from ideation all the way to the consumer.
That's awesome. Yeah. And through the years, we've been lucky to see that sports nutrition developing because people want to take care and ownership of their health. there's another movement that we've seen too, like plant-based was super high at a certain point, and now like whey, since like maybe 2 years, whey is kind of back. And just before we started the interview, we were talking about the cost of whey and chocolate and all of that. Would you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. There's ebbs and flows in terms of how people are what they're consuming.
Yeah.
I think, from a consumer standpoint, people want, number one, what tastes best. That's number one. And for whatever reason, the plant sometimes hasn't made those kind of leaps into where some of the gains have been made in whey protein from a flavor standpoint. However, from a cost, whey protein is highly volatile from a cost standpoint right now. Pea is also, though, undergoing volatility. They're slapping tariffs on it like they did in the U.S.
Okay.
So the anti-dumping tariffs, which we can get into if you're interested. But the cost of pea is going to be volatile in the next little bit as well.
Interesting.
But the cost of whey is, it's made in the U.S. So we have a bunch of factors. We have capacity factors. They can only make so much, and it runs off of cheese. So there's no more new plants coming up. Or it hasn't been in a while. Then you have FX. We buy it in USD. So as the Canadian dollar rises or falls, that has major influence and considerations. I know you guys buy a lot from the U.S.
Yes.
And then, there's economic conditions for a place like China, and they buy significant amount of whey protein as well. So if the prices drop, U.S. dollars, they'll hoard enormous amounts. So it's a strategic commodity for a lot of countries too, because you can just pack whey protein away, and if something goes wrong, whey protein's there and you can use it, and you've got a good quality source of protein. But there's a lot of things that go into the cost. But whey protein is very volatile, quite expensive, and it doesn't look like it's going to be going down to the prices that were available, in the $2 USD kind of range back in, even 5 years ago. Doesn't look like that's ever going to hit.
Those are some pretty big concerns then that you're kind of running into. Are there things that you put in place? Like how do you deal with that? How do you kind of balance that?
There's a couple. One, you have to raise prices when that happens. Unfortunately,
that's a
you've
reality.
got some price increases that have to be given to the market.
Passed on,
But really, it's diversifying your product portfolio. Something that we spend a lot of time on and thinking about that. So like things like the plant proteins, making sure we've got really solid, high taste, great quality plant proteins. We've got hydration products. We have some supplements that we're getting into now.
Oh yeah,
because we have we manufacture, so we might as well we make it, so we might as well start selling it as well and come up with unique formulas that way. But that's the number one thing that you can do. And there's economic things like hedging and stuff like that, but it has less effect.
Right.
You're talking about opening, having some supplements to extend the brand, basically. I think that the LeanFit now is recognized. I mean, we look in the health food store, it's almost like there's a very good distribution. So, and I know that retailers or customers, when they like a brand, they want to buy more of it, like supplements and such. So can you talk to us a little bit about
for sure.
About
so
the supplements?
We kind of, when we think about product development, there's three pillars of protein in our minds. It's like whey protein or animal-based proteins, plant protein, and then we think about collagen.
Right.
Collagen is tiny in comparison to like the whey protein or plant protein market. It's a very, very small market in comparison, but it lends itself to more medicinal or therapeutic kind of opportunities, such as us leading the way on collagen and joint, where we have NEM in there. NEM's an amazing product. One of my favorite. It's the only supplement I've ever traveled with on a daily basis.
Inflammation related more?
It helps your collagen and your joints, like your cartilage and stuff. It's unbelievably great product. Then you have brain product and sleep and all those kind of things. So that's an area of growth. And then you can take those individual components like NEM and we can bottle it and get some things out there
for sure,
and have some supplements and build our supplement portfolio a little bit more. We have the standards of vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin K. I think we're coming out with pretty soon. Those regular ones that people would have. And we're getting a lot of inbound on those as well. So we're thinking about what does that look like in the future and how would we best position the brand to take advantage of that.
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to some of that development and that innovation, does a lot of that come from decisions that you're making, or is that a grander
group
team?
thinking? Yeah.
Well,
yes.
So yes, a little bit.
Yeah.
We have a team of 9.
Okay.
Like we have a very small team on the brand.
Yeah.
Very, very small, which given how much we do, people would say you've got quite a large team, and we don't.
Right.
So everybody does something. Everybody plays a role in that.
Yeah.
It's not just led by any single individual, and teams fail when you have pinch points.
Right.
And I don't want to be a reason the team fails.
Yeah.
So we use a robust amount of data. We talk about it as a team. What do we want to look at? What are we getting inbound on?
Right.
What's happening online using our digital platforms, and then also what's happening inside of our capabilities and capacities inside the plant.
Right.
Because that's one thing that we are considerate of too, is how do we maximize our assets.
Of course.
So that's a factor when we're doing it.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of plays though.
Well, that's good. All the brains together to bring insights, right?
Yeah.
How do you, as speaking about the team, how do you work together? Do you do, like at Purity, we do like some working genius or things like this to really help people to, we say, sit in the right seat and be excited about? Do you have any type of either activity or things that you do for your team building, or to create that connection? Because you're 9, it's closer, but still, right?
Well, we, harkening back to like, Vega was world-class culture and employment center. And taking some of the key principles that were always there and always present is, making sure people are, one, really good fit for the team. That's I spend a lot of time and energy just making sure that the individuals that are on the team are a good fit for the team. Yeah. Because if they're not, then you're wasting your time in a lot of ways.
Especially with that small of a crew,
Absolutely.
It's really got to be the right people.
So make sure you got the right team. Make sure everybody understands what we're doing.
Yeah. Clarity in the message.
Clarity in the message. Yes. And then the right tools. Like we kind of lean on the Gallup 12 of what we're interested in working on, and then the 3 kind of most important ones. Yeah. But we meet constantly.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have 3 SLT meetings every week, 9 a.m. to go over what we're doing at any given point. Yeah. And that constant kind of touch point, and it's not necessarily directive, but it's more informative for myself and the team, where we are able to communicate and talk about the things that are happening in the organization. And when you have frequency of meeting, you have numerous points to change direction by 0.25%.
Right.
Yes.
And the Titanic never would have hit an iceberg if they just were a quarter point off.
Course corrected
early on. So it's that constant communication, constant feedback, constant loop that occurs, and really just being able to look at the team and say, no, you got it. We can work together and we'll figure out any problem. And
removing the roadblocks for the team too, and feeling that you're there to help them out. Yeah, we do that a lot too, like those constant meeting and that communication and transparency. What would be your, for your company, your values? Like what drives all your decision in the back of that?
Well, I guess it's more like the company values are always leadership values. It doesn't matter what's on paper. What matters is what is the leadership value.
Right.
So for us as a leadership team, we value transparency, integrity, being hardworking, and having fun and being respectful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really is really what kind of drives it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you want to be able to look at your team members and know that, one, they're doing their best work, and you're helping them do that. Yeah. And spend a time understanding what your team's goals are.
Right.
Like, what are their individual goals?
Right.
Because if you can get through what their individual goals are, regardless of what their corporate goals are, then you understand why they're there.
Yeah. Motivation.
And when you can understand why an individual is in your organization, you can help them be successful in that organization. Yeah. Because they're never going to stay on that lily pad. They're probably not going to work with you for very long. Right. You have a short period of time with them, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 5. Yeah. So how are you going to help them get to their next lily pad? Yeah. And if you can invest energy as a leader into that individual to be able to get to that next lily pad successfully, one, you've kind of done a good job as a leader, and two, that person will look back at what they've done there and say, have a good thought about what's occurred. Yeah. But treating people, my philosophy has always been, I care about the person, not the employee.
Right.
And it's not about the number.
Makes a
it's
difference.
about you as a person.
Right.
And how do I help you become better?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the role.
Yeah.
How do we get you to be better?
Yeah. Even good, I would say good and not bad. But I mean, you see also people that sometimes, you know, they are sitting in a position, but they don't fit in, right?
Yeah.
It's not the place. So to be able to have that human conversation, right? Not just that like a job but just sitting and say, hey, listen, I don't think it's a good fit, but let me help you to, you know, to transition where you'll be happy, because we spend so many hours. I mean, and constantly, especially in that industry, I find that we're so passionate that it's not a job, right? It's kind of an extension, and all the time we talk about it. And so
as soon as that role is no longer that good fit where you can be passionate and motivated to do the best there, then it's really not the best fit for everybody, right? So it's only to advantage to really have that personal connection and be able to kind of ask those questions to be able to get people where you want them to be.
Well, one of the Gallup questions that you would ask is, are the people around me committed to doing good work?
Right.
And it's one of the most important three, because people know other individuals that they're working with that maybe aren't happy or they're not doing their best work in that role. At some point, everyone says, hey, that person's a problem. Like, what's going on
that influence,
here?
That's
however, as a leader, if you don't manage that, the problem is you as a leader.
Right.
Absolutely.
That negativity or challenge that's permeating inside the organization starts to turn itself and look at you as a leader.
Yes.
Everybody knows this person's a problem. Now you're the problem. And that really degrades your ability to be productive as a leader in an organization.
Did you have a leader like that? That just makes me think that we always we learn from, you know, seeing others doing, of course, and in the industry in general. But is there anybody like that in your career that you looked up to and said, yeah, that behavior or that person really influenced the way that you are today?
Yeah. Well, you know, I was super fortunate in my time at Vega. We had 10 years there. And at any point, I started like I was 28. I had no experience. No experience in the U.S., no experience inside of doing what we were doing. And at any point, Charles could have brought someone in with experience on top of me.
Right.
Easily. Totally justifiable to do it. But allowed me to grow and learn, and really an enormous amount of investment in the leadership team that was there through tech or Crestcom or whatever, group learning, other, you know, kind of things that we did for perpetuity. There wasn't a time that I was there that I wasn't in, you know, some kind of a peer mentorship group like tech or YPO or something like that. And the ability to challenge and trust and, you know, and allow you to go and do stuff. And that was great, you know, great leadership that he provided. And, you know, you look at that and you think, you know, in the moment, maybe you're like, oh my God, it's frustrating from certain things, but it's really a wonderful experience and time. So I'm super grateful about it.
With all of that kind of list of experience that you've had, obviously there's a lot that you've learned about leadership. Is there anything else that kind of stands out as a big learning that you've taken and just really applied to everything moving forward because you just saw that huge value in it?
Absolutely. The dealing with people as people, like your people that you work with as people. I do not believe in this work-life balance idea. As a person, you can have a challenge at your home, you're going to take it to work, and if you have a challenge at work, you can take it home. So you have to address and deal with the whole individual.
Absolutely.
And having compassion and empathy and honesty and sharing who you are as an individual too. You're not a robotic leader in an organization. You're a human. And having that time and having conversations and sharing some of the stuff you're going through too allows them to understand maybe what you're going through as well. So in doing that, that's something that I've always kind of take forward is like empowering the individual, which is maybe my own personal mantra is like, how do I empower you to be successful? And then you can create self-managed teams, which really everybody
Trust
has
them.
that what would Phil do filter or what questions they're going to ask. So if I'm not there, they can already know my response. They already know the questions I'm going to ask and can answer them right away. Like as a leader, you have to be consistent. 100% of the way through. You can't be successful if you're not consistent. It's like the gym. You can't be successful if you're at the gym. You can't be successful at work. You can't be successful as a leader if you're not consistent. If you went to your boss and every time you went to talk to them, you didn't really know what the response was going to be.
Right.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
No one's going to talk to you.
You'll never have a clear chart.
Yeah. And nobody's going to talk to you.
Yeah.
They're going to hide the problems and just.
Yeah.
I think it's very strong and important what you're saying, because sometimes people would put their leader on a pedestal, and because if you're not like a true human sharing, I struggle today, my energy is not at the top. Yeah. And people always they think that they have to always portray that, so they're not being transparent in front of you, and that creates that gray zone that I call that. They're not, as you said, they're not feeling open to tell you, hey, not feeling my best today, but you know what, it's good, I'm gonna do my best, but know that, right? So they're open, and that creates better relationship, definitely,
for sure.
Yeah.
And you also, as a leader, you have to have high expectations of your people. Yeah. And you should expect them to have high expectations of you.
Right.
So you have to live up to their expectations of you as a person, and having a conversation on day one, week one, I will go through, these are my expectations.
Yeah.
And I will fire you for these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah. Clear.
These are the things that I will have to let you go for.
Yeah.
And it just sets that expectation. And in reverse, what are your expectations?
Yeah.
And how can I help you be successful?
Yeah.
And you probably go through that mostly in your interview process, but you have to make sure you're clear.
Yeah.
What are you getting into, and who's getting in with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and often you think you are, but you better really have them to repeat it back to you, because you think you're clear, but I think it's a very good point. People go through, here's the expectation, but they don't go through you're going to get fired, this is not there, and it's it could be scary as a first conversation, but at the same time, it's not. It's just being, hey, do you fit in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Do we have the same? Do we have the same values? Do we have the same expectations?
Yeah.
Because if you're not on the same page from day one, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
So you see Mass Passion as the first day. I still remember walking by. We never dealt distributing Vega ever, but I always remember walking by, always saying hello, because we were sort of CrossFit buddies back in time. So, so what do you do now, sports-wise? Do you have some passions or things that?
Of course.
Yeah.
So I love what I do. I love working. I love seeing people be successful at what they do as well. I get a lot of joy and just energy out of having our team be successful and seeing their wins and everything. You're only as strong as your people you work with, right?
Yeah.
So I get a lot of joy out of that.
Yeah.
And always have. You hire people who are better than you at the thing that you think you're the best at.
Right.
Hire people who are really good, right? And then you get to learn something and grow. And that's a passion of mine too, is learning. I'm constantly reading or taking courses or doing things. I've got 2 young kids, so I coach.
Yeah. How old are your kids now?
I guess 12 and 10.
Yeah.
So,
nice
2 young kids, but kind of coach time, which doesn't leave a lot of time for stuff. But
which is also its own learning.
Yeah, it's exactly learning. But work out.
Yeah.
Have a home gym and run and those kind of things. And
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Keep us going in the health journey. I'm going to jump into some rapid fire question. I sort of got into the beginning with the sports thing, but we talked a little bit about that, like inspiring you or giving you some good advice in the business, but in any categories, doesn't need to be in our industry, but do you have somebody that you are inspired by and you read things and maybe lately that would be like a wow for you?
That's a good question. So I read, the Harvard Business Review regularly, and there's just concepts in there that I will take and go with. In terms of individuals I'm inspired by, it's always more closer to home than further away.
Yeah.
A lot of people are inspired by, I don't know, Simon Sinek or something like that, and they see something, and I look at it and I think I get inspired when my kids do something and they learned something really great. That motivates me, really, really wonderfully.
Yeah.
Or we have a team member of ours that did a course, is learning something new around Microsoft Teams, and that inspiration of them doing something permeates over to me. And I go, oh, right, I should go do something too. And they've inspired me to do something really meaningful for me. And then I go and take a course on data analytics, let's say. I'll share that back. And,
it grow everybody around, right?
grows. When you work out in a gym, Like Arnold worked out in the gym. Everybody was a killer.
Yeah.
And it made him steel sharpen steel.
Yeah.
So when you have that internally, where, you know, that steel sharpen steel idea that you can just talk and share and grow and inspire each other, that's really where, you know, most of my
maximized.
I get inspired by the people around me.
Yeah. I love how much attention you bring to like really surrounding yourself with the right people and the right quality people.
Yeah.
I think
Well, we talk about like there's no you know, life balance because we're always in it. I mean, I think we're all passionate about what we do. So you need to be surrounded with people that, you know, aspire to that same growth and momentum. So you don't feel like we don't feel like we're working. We're just doing things we love,
just doing great things.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
What's something that people would be surprised to learn about you?
Other than I was on a dating show.
I didn't know that.
I was on a dating show. If anybody can find it. I have never watched it.
What year and what show?
I don't know what year it was. It was Matchmaker.
Really?
Show, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It was funny. That's an
experience.
Definitely do some searching.
We're definitely gonna we're gonna have some of our people looking into that.
Was it a success?
I wasn't the person who got chosen.
Oh, that's unfortunately
too bad.
But that good experience.
You weren't the one that was getting to choose.
I wasn't. I was a choosee.
You was a choosee.
Did you get to come back for like a second round? Like the
they
ones
asked
that weren't
me to,
chosen?
and I said, no, I don't really want it.
First experience was good enough.
It was good enough, yeah.
But how did you get into that? You just like there was a sort of a contest or something.
I was younger, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, do you want to just go and do?" And I
said, "Sure."
I have a low level of inhibition. I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go. I don't care."
You got on the show and he didn't.
No, he actually got chosen. It was funny. Yeah. It was quite interesting.
I bet he never let you live that down.
It's a pretty bad show. It's pretty bad.
We're very intrigued now.
I think I don't know if people know it or not, but I'm my dad's side of the family. I'm like 15th kind of generation Canadian, and on my mom's side, I'm first generation. So I have a unique kind of growing up, you know, really poor, to be honest with you, in Canada here. And my dad's side was one, and my mom's side was completely different.
Wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you learn to work hard, right? Young age.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of my favorite interview questions is who is the biggest influence on you today? And I want to hear like your grandpa or your mom or your dad or your grandma. Yeah. And I don't want to hear like Gandhi or Tony Robbins.
No.
Because
real.
If you can be influenced in your core values by reading a book, maybe your core values aren't as strong as they should be.
Good point. Very good point. What is your non-negotiable morning routine? Are you a cold plunge kind of guy or something else? I hear that quite a bit lately. There's a trend.
I have a cold plunge. My non-negotiable morning routine, I read every morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I read every morning.
What does that look like?
I read the news. I read business articles every morning. Yeah.
Feeding the brain first.
Feed the brain first, yeah. That's what I read every morning. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I read for a bit, do a workout, and, you know.
That's good. That whole balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not eating. It's not, I don't care about that, yeah.
No?
Feeding the brain.
Protein shake later on.
I do like 4 or 5 a day.
That's it, no doubt.
Yeah. If you're trying to hit a macro and you don't take protein shakes, you'll never hit your protein macros.
Yeah.
You have to eat a lot.
Yeah. You have to eat a lot.
You have to eat a lot all the time.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, you have to carry food every time.
Yeah, all the time.
And it's hidden in your car. It's hidden in your pocket. Yeah.
And the power of protein is so misunderstood. People don't realize how great it is for your hair and skin and everything in your body.
Longevity.
Everything in your body is made up of amino acids.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And we're segging way back to LeanFit, but it's so true. And I think that's why the success of the brand too is not only the taste, how to mix it is easy, no clunking, all of that. But it's a big trend in all the podcasts. You hear it for women. Like for men, it's a bit more, you know, a constant message of, you know, you want to grow muscle, you need that. But it's like women suddenly say, oh, I need protein. Where do I take protein? I don't want to eat a steak or a turkey or chicken all the time. So that's a good way to take them.
I think it's still such a relatively new concept for women to realize exactly how much they need, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they don't want to
people
get
are
big.
still realizing like, whoa, that is, I mean, like you said,
fair bit.
Yeah.
And the misconception of if I take protein, I'll grow muscle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Unless you go to the gym, you're not going to grow anything.
Yeah.
But you're going to sustain.
If it was that easy, everybody
you're going to, make sure your cells are healthy. The things that you can't see below the surface are all made up of protein.
Yeah.
So you better be getting it.
If you fall and you break your hip, you're in big trouble.
Big trouble.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What was kind of maybe when you were first coming into the industry, or maybe even before that, what was your first sort of love of a natural health product? What natural health product really?
I think it was like that really horrible tasting Vega all-in-one nutritional shake.
Yeah, that was
but it was called Whole Food Meal Replacement.
Oh, I never tasted
it was
that.
great.
Yeah,
it tasted not great, but it was.
But the impact,
the deck of ingredients seems very good.
Yeah. And we sold the product like when I was back in my Pure Source days.
Yeah.
And it just was simple.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed it because it made my life simpler.
Yeah.
And I, if I could wear the same shirt every day and the same pair of pants every day, I would.
Yeah.
Like, simple is good.
Yeah.
It's, like Inspector Gadget, just one outfit. But it's, that was probably the product that I fell in love with the most. And it led to me working there, obviously. Because I think Charles would tell you, I was like the 10th best customer that he had. Yeah. Because I would buy it and sell it to everybody and tell them, yeah, you should take it.
Yeah. So other than your strong personality and I would say the passion, he probably saw in you that when you love a product, like to give you that opportunity as well, right? That was right there.
Yeah.
You were really connected with the brand. And
absolutely, yeah.
It's hard to get somebody that sells a brand better than when you take it and you're passionate yourself about it, right? That just speaks volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about influencers now, that people are pulling away from fake people that have big dollars and they do a post one time, contrary to other people that really use the product and they post for you saying, hey, love the brand and this and that, right?
Yeah, authenticity is important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like people feel authenticity.
Yeah.
So now my favorite products are like our NEM product and our isolate.
Yeah.
Our isolate protein, I think, is the best tasting protein on the market. It's unbelievably good. Mixes so well. I agree. It's amazing.
You don't have to shake like a million times.
Yeah. It's not a workout to do it.
No, exactly.
Absolutely. And no ice required. You can just tap water and go.
Yeah.
So,
Easy. That's what we like.
Easy.
Well, thank you for your time. I mean, this was fantastic to have more time because, as Erin said at the beginning, you have such a wealth of knowledge and you've been in the industry across and being very successful. And I think that your passion and knowledge and all of that is helping some other people to grow in your own team, but also bring great products to market with the knowledge and experience you have. So thank you for giving us some time today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys put on a great show and, you're giving back to the industry as much as you have been in the industry as well. So thanks very much.
Thanks.
And now it's time for some new to Pure Life. So you may have noticed that CustomerLink, our online order site, has had a whole revamp.
A facelift.
Yes, a facelift, exactly. So we're very excited about that. Really hoping that everybody's loving it as much as I did. So it's just, we've made some changes. I mean, all of the capabilities that everybody has come to know and love, with some additional features and just a lot more accessible, a little bit more intuitive, and just a really good facelift. So it looks a little bit more exciting.
Like it's easier to
navigate. Easier to navigate for sure. You've still got multiple different ways that you can submit your order. You can do copy paste. You can choose your items, throw them in your cart. You can still access all of your invoices. You can still pay invoices. So all of that kind of great functionality to let you see all of the products we have available and all of the details. We've cleaned it up a little bit, so when you are looking for specific products, it will be a little bit easier to find the details that you're looking for. We continue to add more functionality, to add more images and more details in terms of nutritional facts and whatnot.
That's good too.
Yeah. So there's all of that. And then, you still have full access to your account, so you can see what's going on with us. And then there's all sorts of kind of additional bonus material, like what new brands are there for Purity Life.
That was there.
You can access the Purity Life magazine and that kind of material as well.
It's great because even if people don't use it to place order, I mean, there's so much information that you can get there, as you mentioned, right? Nutritional facts. Yeah. So even for employee in the store that could get access to that portion, you can have access to that too.
Exactly.
Which is extremely valuable. And often, if we have new brands, like you want to know, okay, what's new? Am I missing something? Yeah. You can just click on that. Yep. If there's some pre-book or any type of activity like that, like it's really easy to find.
Promotions, obviously our sales. Lots of resources too that I think people aren't completely aware of.
I agree. Yeah.
You can download product details, which if you need to kind of drop product details into your own POS system and load them up, that's an easy way to do that.
Yes.
You can download, what are the top 100 products that Purity is selling at this point, so you have an idea of if there's anything that you're missing that you can really capitalize on. Yeah. So there's so much material and so many resources in there. Broker contacts, how to get a hold of any of our people. Yeah. Lots and lots of stuff. So it's still the same great site. Yes. Hopefully you'll be able to find some new information that maybe you didn't even realize was there. Yes. And certainly hope that it's even easier to access and use.
Yeah, and we always want to make it better through receiving comments. So we're always open to that. And that's why, that's how we make it better, because it's users that tells us.
100%. 100%. Yeah. And we would love to keep that feedback coming in. So if you, as you're using the system, have ideas or see there's things that you would like to see, or even just things that you love, certainly email us. You can email us at clsuggestions@puritylife.com.
Awesome. And if you've never been on Customer Link, make sure that
Now's
you go.
The time.
Now it's the time to really look. It's to see that new little facelift.
Yeah. And soon to come will be a facelift on the mobile version as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening or watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and send us your feedback at marketing@puritylife.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at PurityLifeLProductLP and myself at JD_girlpower.
And I'm at Erin G. Macklin. And don't forget to come next week, where we're going to interview Tanya Ritko. She is the Director of Marketing and Vendor Relations at the Health First Network. Thanks for joining us.